So, how do you classify real numbers? First, start out by just defining real numbers and just think of them as the normal numbers you work with in math, the integers, fractions, decimals, just the basic numbers you normally work with. So to classify it, one way to do it is to do like a classification tree where you have two main branches of real numbers. The first is rational, and I like to think of that as just a word that's not really a word, but I think it's helpful, and that is fractional. It rhymes and helps understand it. It's basically if it can express a number as a fraction, then it's a rational number, and if it's rational, then it's real. So one example would be the number 3. Doesn't look like a fraction, but that can be expressed as 3 over 1, so it is rational. Another example is 2.25, and you can express that as 2 1/4, or 9 over 4, so it can be expressed as a fraction. And then another example would be like 3 and then you just have 3's that keep going on, and that can also be expressed as a fraction as 3 1/3 or 10 over 3. So all these numbers would be rational numbers. Some other types of rational numbers would be like natural numbers and whole numbers, and you can review that if needed. So the other type of real number is irrational, and those are just basically non-repeating decimal numbers that don't end. So an example would be you can just pick anything, 1, 2, 7, 9, 6, and it just keeps going on and on and on, and there's no repeating pattern. Another example would be, you often see like a square root. If you had like the square root of 4, that would be 2, so that would be a rational number. But if you have the square root of 2, you put it into your calculator, calculate it, you get a decimal that just goes on, and it doesn't have a repeating pattern. And another common example is the number pi, which you could also put in your calculator, and you can see that you don't get a repeating decimal.